there is a lot of more events coming up in the next months. We will have Randy and Charlene. They will be talking about Maui and everything that is coming with the actually the GA release of Maui. In May, we're gonna be having Jeffrey Palermo here. He will be talking about the .NET DevOps for Azure and probably some Blazor architecture. So I'm really excited for everything that is coming. We're gonna be talking about Maui Blazor. Probably I see that Lester is here in the participants, so probably I will try to get him to talk about Uno testing Uno apps. So there is a lot of great things coming. Before we start, I want to thank Andres for taking the time of his schedule to be here with us and talking. I always say there is a great power in community. We cannot be successful by ourselves. The community and the power that it brings is what drives us, is what makes us better. So I'm gonna let Andres introduce themselves, and then we're gonna start this program in party, as you say.
Thank you very much, Jose. And honestly, whenever you start doing the in-person conference, please invite me. It will be my first time in Arizona. I've never been there, but I know that you have been many times. It's for me a pleasure to be here today, and I want to say first of all that we know that the world right now is going through this situation in a world that we were not. Nobody, I think nobody was expecting being in this situation after almost 2 years being in a COVID situation. So it's one situation after the other. So for anyone who has family going through problems and going through bad times, we really are with you. And that's all I want to say. And so my name is Andres Pineda. I am a software developer. I'm a open source contributor. And today I'm going to be talking about Uno Platform. This is a brief introduction about Uno Platform and the capabilities of Uno Platform in the web. So basically, I want to show how we can use Uno Platform and leverage the power of Uno Platform and put it in the browser. I know that there are many questions about that, and I know for sure one of the questions that people usually ask, and I'll be answering during my presentation, is that how those Uno Platform compete or is compared with Blazor. So is that your question? Don't worry, I will answer it even during my presentation. Jose, I would like to share my screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Before doing that, real quick, this is one of the ways that we can support the Ukrainian refugees right now. We can donate. Anything will help them. I know that there is a lot of things going up there, so anything that we can do to support them, that will be great. And please join also the Uno Platform developers group. I'm really excited for this talk. I think, Andres, I saw this the first version of this talk in Toronto when you did over there the introduction to Uno Platform, and it has been a long time since that. So there has been a lot of great things in WebAssembly. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what's new and how Uno Platform has evolved. So I'm going to stop sharing. Feel free to share and we can go from there.
Wait a sec. And so I'm going to share my screen. Screen number 2. There is. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yeah, we can definitely see it.
Thank you. So yes, as I said, tonight, if you are listening live, tonight we're going to be talking about how we can use XAML and C# and create applications that run on the browser. When run on the browser, is that we're not talking about MVC, we're not talking about .NET Core, we're talking about WebAssembly. It's compiled applications that will run natively on the browser. This is with the power of Uno Platform. As I said, my name is Andres Pineda, repeating, and I'm a core contributor for Uno Platform. At some point back in the past, I used to work with the project, and I love so much this project that I have continued contributing even as an open source. So it's open source. It's part of the presentation. It's open source. If you like what you're gonna see this today or tonight, I invite you to join the GitHub so you can open issues or help us fixing some issues. So what's actually the problem? The problem, it's not new. The problem is that we want to use a single technology to build different applications. So single repository, single source, single code base, and we want to use it and compile it into different targets. This has been the problem for many years. Many different vendors have tried to fix this issue and have made it in a different way. Why is this a problem? Because every time that we need to build for a specific platform, if we are not reusing, we are actually duplicating effort. Let's say that we have an application for iOS and we'll build on using Swift, which is one of the native languages supported by iOS. And then we want to make the same application to run on Android. We will need to rewrite everything from scratch. And if we want to add another target, let's say Linux or Windows desktop, we will need to rewrite everything again from scratch. This is a problem because effort duplication, as I said. So also the other problem that comes with that is that you will need different people with different skills. And it is hard in this time finding somebody with one skill. Imagine finding somebody with multiple skills. Somebody can do iOS, Android, and Windows at the same time. It's not easy to find. So this is the problem. And as I said, many technologies have tried to fix this in the past. And I'm going to show you how's the Uno's way of fixing this. Number two is also say that also that legacy business application migrating to the web. This is the case where you have a Windows application, UWP running locally on your computer, and you decide that it is time to port it to the web. Why? Because as we know, it is the web is easier to deploy and it is easier to maintain. So the solution, as I said, the Uno's way is that you can use the XAML and C# that you already know and create one application that can be later deployed to many different targets. Uno uses the WinUI/UWP APIs, and at compile time, it creates one target, one application, one APK, actually APK is Android, one executable, to call it in a way, that can later be run. Well, one executable for each one of the targets. And all that using the .NET and C# and the .NET Power. Some history, so you understand where we are standing right now. Uno is not new, even though you might be listening about it right now for the first time, or when Jose make a public this presentation. Is Uno is been around for many years, since 2013. That's almost 10 years right now, and it was in 2018 that it was released as an open source for the first time. It was being for 5 years. Uno Platform was used for a private company and a company mobile shop, where they used this framework to create applications for the clients. So in 2018 was released, and at the same time, it started the support for WebAssembly. This is exactly the presentation that we're going to be doing today. The WebAssembly is so then from 2018 to 2019, there were a lot of changes. And from 2019 to 2020, version 2.0, that brought many of the high level supports that we're going to be seeing today. Later in time, to 2020, I think, Jose, this is when we met here at UnoConf 2020. It was the release of the 3.0. It had a support for Git pull, hard restart, VS Code, and many other changes, including changes that are very relevant for the WebAssembly. Material and Fluent UI and other jizzle. So 2021, version 3.5 came out. And this is the version that, so the previous version, because right now is version 4.0. So the thing is that with the pass of the time, you can see that Uno Platform and the team behind Uno Platform is being very active, providing features for all the platforms, including WebAssembly. How does it work? Well, Uno Platform uses WinUI/UWB, and with the power of XAML and C# and .NET, you can create one specific application for each one of the targets. So it's all about code reusability. You have XAML for the UI, and you have C# for everything else. And you have a single code base that then later you can compile for different platforms, including desktop platforms and mobile platforms, and the browser. And the browser, as you can see on the second block, it supports most of the browsers because that's with the power of WebAssembly. Now we're gonna be talking more later in this presentation. Did I mention that it is free and open source? Yes. Uno Platform is free and as well open source. So if you can try for free, and if you have any issues, you can either collaborate fixing the problem that you found, or just open an issue and somebody will pick it up later. Uno Platform 4.0 was released recently, November last year, during UnoConf, November 30. And it brought a few new features. Among those features, you have the themes and VS Code plugin, a better support for Uno Platform inside VS Code. If you like Visual Studio, the big guy, that's the one that we're going to be using today during our presentation. But after Uno Platform 4.0, the support for Visual Studio Code was improved. During the 4.0 release, there were also a few other features like the toolkits, tools, and one of my favorite is the Figma support. If you don't know what Figma is this is like this designer portal where designers can create the whole flow of an application. And by the way, Figma is created on top of WebAssembly. And Uno created a library or a plugin where you can connect to Figma, and all the design that was created by the designers, like those design, you can export those designs in XAML, making it super easy for anyone to go from design to UI without any interaction. It's very useful because, if you have worked with designers in the past, you know that they're very picky. When they say 5 pixel, they want a 5 pixel. They don't want 6, they don't want 4, they don't want a 4.5. And by using this plugin, you can get exactly the same measurements and colors and everything that the designers use it in Figma. So this plugin makes the developer cycle from design to application very, very easy. Truly native, that's what Uno Platform is all about. And when we say truly native, we really mean truly native. With this, we want to say, or I want to say, that Uno Platform relies on the native APIs in order to provide native UI. There's no drawing like other technologies that will use drawing all the pixel. Not saying that this is a problem, not saying that is bad, but when you draw, you sometimes, or you...
God is good, God is great.
Sorry,
God is good, God is great. God.
Okay. Okay, I think that I'm gonna have to remove because. Okay, I'm going to remove this user because it seems like I'm muted and he's unmuting himself. Okay, please continue.
Something I didn't mention in the past is that this is something I like about Zoom presentations is like I can see most of the people cameras. You can turn it on and I can see you. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. This is a moment for us to learn And if you have any doubt, I don't want you to leave it to the end because you might forget it. You might later be shy. This is like a very intimate group. We are how many? We are connected right now? 10, 11,
12 for now.
So it is okay. If you have a question, raise your hand, and Jose, please pass the question immediately to me. So I was saying truly native, and with truly native is that Uno uses the underlying UI kit. Well, I don't know why I say UI kit. The UI framework. The UI framework for each one of the platform. I want to say with that when you're
fuck you, motherfucker.
Okay, I think that because we put the link in the group or something public, that has to be a bot or something. It cannot be.
Block the people and do not allow anyone else.
Yeah, I did it right.
Yeah, do not allow anyone else. So whoever we are right now, yeah, you never put Zoom links online. Yeah, it's something I learned the hard way. So yeah, I was saying that with truly native, we mean that it's truly native. We use the UI framework, the UI libraries for each one of the technologies that Uno compiles to. So for instance, whenever we are compiling for iOS, we are using UIKit, which is the framework for the UI. And the same for Android, we're using the views. And for WebAssembly, Uno is using HTML5. So it's basically using native UI. But there is also a way to have because one of the reasons that people say is that, oh, I like drawing because it is easier for me to keep this, to have the same branding. It's usually for brands, when you created a branding application, let's say for a company that wants all their applications, regardless of the target, to look the same, say drawing seems perfect for me because I don't care about native performance. I just want my applications to look the same. Uno allows to do that as well, because by using styling, it is very easy to have one text box that looks exactly the same on every single platform, but it is native. The only thing is that Uno, what is doing at compiling time is that it's creating the control to look as you would like the control to look. Did I say again that it is open source? If I didn't, yes, it is open source. For me, is very important because even though if it is not open source, you will be on a restricted to the things that you can do with a platform. It is so easy when you have a problem and you can just go to a repository of GitHub issues and find if somebody else is having the same problem. I'm not against of licensing or private products, but myself, I do prefer working with open source, even though you are supporting the open source project in a different way, paying licensing or which is one of the way that Uno is being supported right now. So for many companies that are using Uno platform for their projects, they can come to Uno and they can pay for enterprise support. This is the Red Hat model. I think Red Hat was one of the first open source projects that started working this way. So if you want paid support, you also can get it, or your company can get it through this for Uno. This is a pause. This is a blank template, and I left it on purpose. This is a time if you have any questions so far about what Uno is. Right now, from here on, we're gonna be talking about WebAssembly mostly. So about Uno, if you have any questions, no questions. So let's continue. So what is WebAssembly? If you have heard about Blazor in the past, this might be familiar to you. If you haven't, so I'm gonna give you some context when we say WebAssembly and when we talk about the browser. So WebAssembly is a low-level bytecode for the web. Bytecode, you have heard that word many times in the past. Java bytecode, C# bytecode. And bytecode is just intermediary representation that can later run on a virtual machine. As you heard, with WebAssembly will run on a virtual machine on the browser. WebAssembly has two different types of presentations. One is WASM, which is binary, and another one is WAT, or what is that the textual representation. The textual representation, you could write WebAssembly, but that's not the way it is supposed to be. You're supposed to write in any language of your choice, C#, C++, Rust, Go, and many more. And then you compile into WebAssembly. Being said, WebAssembly is not a new language. WebAssembly is just a compiler, a compilation target that you can use for your language. The same way that you can compile for x86, x64, and now ARM, that same way you can use the compiler and tell the compiler, I want to compile now to WebAssembly. And then that result bytecode, which is a file with containing the intermediary code, is the one that's going to run on the VM. The VM is now supported in all the main browsers, including the mobile version of those browsers. And as you can see, all the browsers is from Edge, Internet Explorer, Safari, and Firefox are already supporting this. This is just a note. WebAssembly is not a Microsoft thing. WebAssembly is not a company thing. It all started with Firefox 2017, but it was then released. It was created on a whole organization where many different vendors are making WebAssembly, and working WebAssembly to give the next features, and making WebAssembly something in the future. The main purpose of WebAssembly is performance. We all know that JavaScript was created. There are many applications right now. Well, JavaScript is the language for the web. That's how it's called, right? All the applications that want to run on the browser, you will need the language. You will need JavaScript. But unfortunately, there are certain performance issues that JavaScript has, and WebAssembly came to provide help for when you hit those performance problems. And you can have performance benefits from two different scenarios. One, on the compilation time. Remember, JavaScript will be parsed. It is a parsed language, so it will be parsed every time that the instructions are run or the script is run. WebAssembly is already pre-compiled, so there's already a benefit or performance benefit from there. Also, the fact that you can have WebAssembly running on multiple threads, and while JavaScript is not possible to run multiple thread. I know every time I say this, I receive a feedback saying that there are ways to mock multiple threading on JavaScript, but as we said, it's mocking. It's not actually running on multiple threads. And one of the main benefits of WebAssembly is the fact that this runs on the same security context as JavaScript. And with that, I want to say that the same is, it's not doing the same mistakes that previously created technology made. And if you are old enough, you might have already heard about Flash, ActiveX, Java Apples. All those technology we're trying to do exactly the same. Take your language, compile it, and put it on the browser. The only difference is that with Flash and many others, they require installing a plugin. That was one thing. And second, the security issues. Flash is not today a thing because of security concerns. Applications built with this technology that I mentioned in the past had access to many of the resources of the app, of the PC, of the computer where they were running. That's not the case with the WebAssembly applications. Whenever we are running a WebAssembly app, the user it has to allow to have access to any of the resources. So if you go to a web page and you get this really bad, this really disturbing message saying that this application would like to have access to your location, this application would like to have access to send you push notifications. The same way those applications are built is the same way WebAssembly will be. WebAssembly uses JavaScript as a tunnel in order to have access to those browser APIs. So yeah, this is not a matter of WebAssembly is going to destroy JavaScript. WebAssembly is not about removing JavaScript from the browser. It's about providing the users with solutions and having the same security that JavaScript provides. So Uno basically uses the UWP/WinUI3 APIs, and so basically we're gonna be creating UWP APIs. We're gonna be creating UWP applications. We're gonna have a grid, we're gonna have a text blocks, and we're gonna be doing the binding, which for me is one of the best feature for XAML. And then we're gonna be able to use that XAML and run it on Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, /Linux, and all the different platforms that Uno already supports. You want to see in action? Let's put it in action. Sorry, my Visual Studio. Nope, not this one. Sorry, change my, okay. How you get started with Uno Platform? Let's do that before I continue. It's showing a very simple sample, but before that, I want to show you how you can get started. So Uno Platform can get on your computer by adding a new extension. So as you install a new extension, manage extension, you go online, you search for Uno, and you will install Uno Platform Solution templates. This template is the one that is going to allow you to create a file new application. So once you have the Uno Platform Solution template installed, you can come to File, New, Project in Visual Studio. You can also do the same on Visual Studio Code, but Visual Studio Code you would do it on the command line. Once you have the install, you will search for Uno, or you can filter here for cross-platform. XAML will bring also Uno, because yeah, and then you will have 4 different projects that you can create with Uno with this template. You have one template for the multi-platform application and the multi-platform library, and you will have the same for .NET 6. .NET 6 that was released back in November. You will be able to use a .NET 6 application using this template. If you use the old template, this one, it will create a .NET 5 application. And why we're not making .NET 6 the default? So .NET 6 is still under development. Microsoft is still fixing some or bringing some performance on .NET 6, and that's why that's not the default. If you want, the default would be .NET 5, and there is also a template for creating a test, cross-platform UI testing, that will probably be having Lester in another session here and another day if Jose is able to convince him. So you create Uno application. It's the same way that you create a Microsoft app, any .NET application. You can click on following, you put the name, Arizona user group.
Hey, Andres, while you're typing that, we have a question that is asking of course, we know that this was going to come up, like if someone informed is a competition of Uno.
Well, Xamarin Forms is I think we can say it's no longer a thing. Yeah, if we're talking about Maui, that is going to be the next the new way of creating cross-platform applications with the Microsoft toolkit. I don't want to say competitions, but I would say it is a different way of doing the same thing. Why a different way? Because while Xamarin or /Maui, you're gonna use the proprietary XAML that Xamarin provides. Uno Platform will allows you to use the XAML that has been there forever. So if you built WPF back in the days, the XAML that you're going to be using here is very similar to that XAML, having most of the same UI controls, the same for the APIs. So if you built UWP applications when Windows 10 came out, or Windows 8 was the first one providing with UWP, and you have been creating UWP applications for 5-6 years, you're gonna feel like home using Uno Platform. While on Maui / Xamarin Forms, you will need to learn a new way of XAML. So a stack panel is not a stack panel in XAML. In Xamarin, a stack panel is a
stack layout.
A stack layout. So those little things, that's the first part. Second part is the way each platform approach different things. Like, for example, let's talk about Xamarin Forms. If you want to on Xamarin Form create a custom control, you would create a custom control. Then you will have a custom render that you can have access to the native platform, and then you can customize your custom control based on the custom render. That's going to change on Maui. There's a new set of APIs and interfaces that you're going to be using. But for Uno Platform, you don't need to use a custom render. The way that you customize a custom control is by using styling. Everything is about style in Uno Platform. So as I said, it's just a different way of getting to the same thing. And when people ask me which one I prefer or I suggest to people, if you are a Windows developer, it makes sense using Uno Platform. If you like the way Xamarin Forms does it, probably Xamarin Form is your choice. I mean, it's the same with Blazor. We're gonna be talking about WebAssembly here, and Uno Platform provides the same results that Blazor. And which one is best? Which one is better? None of them. I mean, both of them / none of them at the same time. It's just a matter of preference. So you pick one, the one that you feel more comfortable. My choice of preference usually is the community. If you feel good with the community behind the technology, go for it.
I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, because Uno Platform started in 2013 and Xamarin Forms starting in 2014. I believe that because Uno Platform was made open source later, the Xamarin Forms community grew bigger. Because if you think about the whole picture, UWP was supposed to be universal Windows. It's supposed to be Windows everywhere. And the XAML of UWP makes sense for Windows developers. So it didn't make sense to create a new XAML dialect just to use Xamarin Forms. But a lot of people, at least that I know, they have started with Xamarin Forms. And that's why
you mentioned something very, very important, and it's all related to the question. The U from UWP stands for universal. From the beginning, this is what Microsoft would think. I mean, I think that the people behind, I was not a part of the team at that time, and not even a part of the project. It was as I said, it was a proprietary project, a private. But the idea behind Uno Platform was thinking what Microsoft was thinking from the beginning. Microsoft wanted a single language, a single ecosystem that could be run on different platforms. It all started with Microsoft platforms, like the tablets, PCs, and phones when Windows Phone was a thing. But Microsoft never pushed the aside of the boundaries of their platform, making it, but Uno platform making it possible. And it's very important also to mention that when Uno platform came to the picture, Xamarin Form was still in beta. So it was not that the Uno platform copied Xamarin Forms, but took the idea, because Xamarin Forms, I don't know if anybody here used Xamarin Form at the very beginning, it was very basic. The things that they provided, they are very, very basic. That's why many people in the community were reluctant to use it, because and up to now, some people that are not in the community, they feel and they understand that Xamarin Forms was only to make forms applications, which is not the case. You can do practically everything with Xamarin Forms. But I want to say that at the time that Uno platform started taking shape, Xamarin Forms was still an idea. Kudos to the team behind Xamarin Forms, because they did a good product. But so did the team behind Uno platform, making it possible to allow Windows users to use the same tooling and the same language, the same UI language, which is the markup language, which is XAML, without having to learn anything new.
And just to end the questions, Andres, so you can continue with the demo. Microsoft is actually supporting on the platform. If you can see Bill, they are actually giving talks, and they are actually promoting on the platform. They are actually recommending the platform for example, for Windows 7 applications that we are not able to do right now. Platform is using WinUI 3 project reunion, so it's definitely not a competition. It's another way to do things. Like
it's just another way, and Microsoft understand that, and that's why, Jose, as you were saying, Microsoft do not see Uno as a competition. Otherwise, they wouldn't be promoting Uno platform. Uno platform has been in Build and many other conferences in the past from Microsoft, and they collaborate. They collaborate to a point that it is some of the, like we can as a framework, we have information from internal developers that, I mean, with the permission of Microsoft, of course, of things that are going to be out, so Uno can prepare. So the same way that Uno has 1-day support for Android, newer version of Android, newer version of iOS, the same happened with the newer version of WinUI. WinUI right now 3.0 is still in preview, so there are a lot of updates coming out for WinUI, and the only way that Uno has to be up to date with those updates is by collaborating with the team behind WinUI. So not a competition. It's just another way of doing the same. So you create a project, basically click on create. I'm gonna use this one that was already created just for the sake. If you have never seen Uno platform projects, the way it is structured, it is you have a folder called platforms where all the different targets are, and you have a shared project where is where the sharing happens. So this specific project has Android, iOS, macOS, GTK, which is Kia, and that's the way Uno platform can run on Windows 7, and also on Linux is by using Skia, and also on Tyson and UWP. So if we take this project and let's run it on UWP, which is Windows. This is a very simple, this is the find new project. When you do a find new, this is what you're gonna get. And I wanna show you like what a hello world looks in UWP. Let me change this size so I can have it side by side. Yeah, so here on the right, we have the UWP running is black. That's why you can probably barely see. But if we said, this was one of the reasons why they used the UWP. The whole UWP tooling back in the day, back when Uno was being created, it already provide many of the things that now are. So hot reload is being a while around the UWP development, and this is something that you as a Uno platform can leverage. So the idea is that you will build your application on UWP, and then you will just you will run your application UWP, and then you will just build on the different platforms that you want to release. Let's say that you have Blue, but the same thing happened, and you not even need to save the file, and you will get the results. This is what is called hot reload these days, but as I said, this has been around for many years now. And let's add a few more controls. Let's add a slider. Let's add a just put a name. Put my slider. You see, nope. Yeah, because I stopped the execution. Let's just run it again. A second, it's coming here. Here we are again. So we have the file, and we see that the slider is here at the top. Let's change this by instead of a grid, let's use a stack panel, and it will automatically update based on the controls that we're using. No, I don't want to. I want to edit. But let's change something here, and let's say that instead of this test, I want to be doing a binding, and let's have a binding. Let's find the value element name, and then we're gonna be binding the element, the information from the slider. What's going on? To the test. This is binding. If you're new to XAML, if this is the first time that you've seen XAML, binding is a way that you can bind one element to the another element. In this case, we're binding the value of the slider to the information that is displayed in the text block. And whenever we change this value, we can get the feedback immediately. And XAML and UWP and Uno automatically handles that for us. So this is UWP. This is nice. But what about WebAssembly? This presentation is about WebAssembly. So now that we have the UWP, the application running, and that we're happy with the results that we have, we just need to run the WASM way. And let's say run. Where it is. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I don't see it. I'm still learning. Let me just change the target here and say that I want to run the WASM target. We could run the iOS. We are connected to a Mac, and the same way that if you have built cross-platform applications with Xamarin, so the same way you connect to a Mac, and then you will have access to iOS. You can have the Android running locally on your simulator or a physical device. Or if I had Windows 11, I will be able to run the
WSL.
Yeah, the subsystem for Android. So the same application that we were running in just a few minutes ago in UWP, now we see it in the browser. And it has exactly the same styling that we were using before, but still we have access to the binding, and still we have access to all the features that Uno provides, and all that is handled by Uno. We didn't have to do anything special to make this application run on the browser, or to make the browser application behave as a desktop application. This is WebAssembly. And I'm gonna be showing some demos later. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep talking about XAML and XAML support. What can you do in XAML on Uno platform. You have access to control templating. You have access to styling, conditional SAML, native control integration, data binding. We just saw data binding working right now, shapes and browser. So most of the features and most of the UI widgets that WinUI 3 already provides are already supported by Uno. And we could use any of this control, and Uno is going to make possible that this control is rendered into the native representation of the control that we have. How does it work when there is not a one-to-one? With that, I want to say there are certain controls that are not in every single platform. So what Uno does is that it pixel perfect creates the UI to look exactly as it would look if the control existed. For example, there is not in iOS, there is not a control to work with flyout. It's called something else, but it's not called flyout, or there's not a control for the pivot. But if you use a pivot in a Uno platform application will compile and will create that control to look as it look in the UWP with the iOS styling. I hope you understand that part. I hope it's not confusing. So something else is the Uno Platform program. This is the easiest way for you to get into Uno Platform if you are new. So if you right now, you can type, this is amazing. Let me just paste it here. You can go to that link and you will be able to see this same application that I have here in front of me. Something interesting about this website, this WebAssembly, this is a WebAssembly application using Uno Platform. So Uno Platform was used to build a web application that later was used to run Uno Platform on the browser. When I say run, it's because this application automatically updates the information based on the input that we get on the left. Let me put this a little bit bigger. And let's say to get started, welcome. Explode, welcome. This is the message that is coming from the data. And welcome Arizona user group to the Uno Platform playground. This is a data that we are binding to this SAML page, and we are able to update both the data and we know why running WebAssembly on the Arizona user group. You can see this here. So this is a SAML, this is a WebAssembly application built with Uno running Uno Platform. Some kind of inception here is what's going on. And as you can see, the performance is good. This website would allow you to play around with the Uno capabilities. And if you want to see all the different controls that Uno provides, you can visit this website instead.
I'm always amazed when those tools, those hot reload, those actual real-time refreshing, because it's a crazy, they do some like, they take the assembly and they decompile it right away, see everything that changed or the bytecode and just inject that. It's just crazy how they do it.
That is a very, very good comment, because what is happening here, remember WebAssembly is compiled. This is not happening on the browser. So since WebAssembly is compiled, we are taking your input, compiling, and then putting back on the browser.
Yeah.
So you can see the results.
By the way, I have a question on the chat, Andres. I think that they are asking how Uno handle navigation of each type of an SPA, especially in the browser, because the browser, they are most of the time now using the SPA design. So how do we handle navigation here?
So for example, this is a browser, and this is also a WebAssembly application. And the navigation's happening here. You see here that nothing changed. That's because the Uno applications think of them, or well, actually, a WebAssembly application, think of them as a desktop application on the browser. So in a desktop application, there's no the navigation is internal to the application. It's not external. That's why when you reach this website, when you reach a website that has a WebAssembly application on it, you navigate internally, and it feels and behaves as an SPA, as a single page application. But it's not as well. In this case, it's not a single. It's a single page because only one page is solved in the URL, but everything is happening beneath the browser. Internally, Uno handles what frames are being shown to the user and will replace the frames depending on the page that you are navigating to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this control is a split view. So you have one control on the left. So you have this control on the left and you have this control on the right. And every time that we are clicking on this button, we are replacing the information. We're navigating to a new page or to a new user control that it's replacing the information on the right. And if you want to see all the different controls, like live, you can come to the gallery.platform.uno and you will see the controls being displayed on the so yeah, this is a layout. Want to show. And something important is this. Each one of these samples, you can change how they look. You can change the theming that we're gonna be talking later. The theming is that Uno out of the box support Fluent design, which is the Windows design, and there are these two new themes, which is Materia and Cupertino, and they are part of the Uno toolkit. And so you install that new is a NuGet package. You make it available for your project, and you are able to choose from these three different designs just using one line of code, because everything else is handled by Uno. So this is Material that was originally implemented by Android, and this is how Material looks. Let's go to the textbooks, because the textbooks is one of the most that highlights most what Material looks like. This is Material for textbooks. This is Fluent for the same textbooks. And this is Cupertino, which is an iOS for the same textbooks. The textbooks is exactly the same. The only thing that we're doing every time we change here, this tab, is changing the theming. In the same way, you can have your own themes, and you can make the three platforms to look the same, regardless of the platform. You can make Android, iOS, Mac OS, Linux to look the same just by using the same theming, and you can create the themes. Oh, and yeah, so I invite you to visit these two pages, and from there you will be able to play around with different controls and see how they behave. And you can see that the source code here attached to that. So if you want to create that, you just copy this. You can come to the play background. Are you requesting, Jose?
Say that again.
It said Jose Javier Colombia requesting to remote control decline. Okay.
No.
Probably was a mistake. So you can come here and you can add that information that you just copy from the oh, it's gonna fail because I'm using step panel, and you cannot have one step panel inside the step panel. But yeah, but that's the idea. You can go to those two pages and you can start playing around with Uno. And those two pages are WebAssembly. Benefit of Uno Platform is that you can still reuse any .NET Standard library. So any of those cool libraries that you have, either open source library that you found on NuGet, or libraries that you got that you created internally in your company. We know that each company start creating packages and putting together a lot of libraries of the things that they keep reusing. If those libraries are at least .NET Standard 2.0, you will be able to use it in a Uno platform without any problem. Third-party controls like Syncfusion, Infragistic, and other, it's not well, others coming, but Syncfusion and Infragistic, they have been forever in the .NET ecosystem, and they are also now supporting Uno platform applications. MVVM solutions, MVVM frameworks, Reactive UI, and Prism, and so on. You can also use them in the as part of Uno platform. So SkiShar support for WebAssembly. SkiShar, as Jose was saying, so if you wanna use SkiShar, you can use SkiShar instead of using the native component of the HTML. You can use SkiShar. SkiShar is the binding library for Skia, and that allows you to use Skia for WebAssembly, Skia for Windows 7, and Skia for Linux. So what's next for in support for WebAssembly? So there are garbage collection, working with exceptions, JavaScript wrappers, and no reference handler, other things that are in the trenches for WebAssembly to make WebAssembly an even more mature technology. Improve browser support, support for Lash browsers, for Lash module support, profiling. Sorry, and being able to do profiling and better tooling. So WebAssembly, as I was saying, many people think of WebAssembly as a JavaScript killer. I said that in the past, and I want to reiterate that the people behind WebAssembly, that's not what they're looking to do. They're not looking to compete with JavaScript, where they're looking to provide with solutions to the problems that unfortunately JavaScript cannot do well in terms of performance more than anything. Are you seeing my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's something else happening on the yeah. So, okay, questions. Do you have questions? Ask me 2 questions. Me, not only 2. You can ask me any question as you want. I'm open to questions. This is the time if you have questions.
Yeah, Steven was asking about the use of MVVM frameworks in Uno, but I think that you answered it with the Prism, Reactive, and MVVM Cross.
Yeah. The thing is that Steven, you can turn on your camera, Steven. And anyone here can turn on the camera if you feel like it, of course. The Uno platform will support any library, as I said, and not only libraries that have been publicly created, but also any library that you or your company has that you created for internal use. You will also be able to use it. And if Uno's platform supporter, most likely you will be able to use it for WebAssembly applications.
I have to say that me personally, the idea of developing Windows first and not having to deal with emulator, simulator, and having hot reload, this is a huge productivity boost. I definitely, when I found out about Uno a few years back, I almost moved completely to it. And then I think the question here,
240 millimeter guns
what's
of the
going on here?
544th Field Artillery firing point blank against the ancient walls. Jap defensive.
This is the first time, and we do a lot of meetups, that it seems like we put that link public and that start having some. Okay, let's remove.
Yeah, remove any person that.
Yeah. Okay. So honestly, this is the first time that something like this is happening, and Jose and I, we do a lot of meetups as well. As I was saying, I think that the idea of doing Windows first is a huge productivity boost. And what I was saying, when I found out about Uno Platform like a few years back, I almost completely moved all our development to Uno Platform. But then it came Blazor, and that changed for us a little bit. And then we actually had to move to Blazor development.
And it is okay because each platform is gonna provide a different approach to the same problem, as I was saying in the past. And you started using Blazor, and then you understood that Blazor was fits better your needs, and any user is gonna be the same. And me, as a person who enjoys working with XAML, and I love bindings, and not having to keep in mind, because this is one thing. If you are using Blazor, then if you want, there's no data binding. You will need to iterate, and because it's a templated rendering, so you need to iterate and display the information that you want to display, and so on. So as I was saying, that somebody that enjoys doing XAML will feel that Uno Platform fits better their needs. If you come from web development, if you have been doing .NET Core in the past, Blazor will make more sense.
Yeah, and that's exactly the case on our team. The case that we had more web developers, so the pattern for web development makes more sense for us. But honestly, personally, I like more XAML. I think that I can see a XAML and I can imagine in my head how the UI will look like. But in HTML, there is CSS, there is like a whole lot other things just to get to that nice looking UI. So I don't know if anyone else want to unmute their mic, ask any question. I think that this is the moment. This is a great presentation. I think that I have seen I saw this presentation like 2 years back, and they have so much new features in the Uno framework that is amazing, the work. And Jerome and Levan, I think that is a out of league developer.
Yeah, and it's very supportive. That's why I'm gonna say that. I invite you to try it. You go to Platform Uno, you install it, and if you have any problems, join the Discord. There's a Discord channel. Join the Discord, ask your question, and if you have issues, go to GitHub and open an issue. And most likely, I will be fixing the issue for you, or I will be helping you in case you want to collaborate as well and understand how things work in the. Just ping me. And I might be able to help you with that. And also, I don't have it here, but Jérôme Laban, as Javier was saying, there's a Twitch channel. No, I don't have it here. There's a Twitch channel where every Tuesday, most likely every Tuesday, he's streaming online and showing Uno capabilities. So he takes something randomly and start live coding about Uno. So if you wanna, I can probably find the link and share it with you. Give me a second, because that is another nice way for you to get started with Uno Platform, is by seeing Jerome live working on applications with Uno. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I don't see it. Oh my gosh, I follow so many great people on Twitch.
While you are looking for that, Pineda, I think that Steven had his hand raised and he wants to ask something.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, another thing, Pineda. I want to know if Uno Platform will have support for .NET MAUI in the future.
No, because they are actually two different type of technologies. .NET MAUI is a different way of doing what. So they say .NET MAUI is just summary forms. Okay. .NET MAUI is just a renaming and a refactoring of the way that summary forms works. But it's on the back, it is exactly the same summary forms that we know. Uno Platform uses though Xamarin. So the way that Uno targets iOS and Android is by using Xamarin, no forms. It's Xamarin, the Xamarin Classic iOS, Xamarin Android, which with .NET 6 that change, and they are called .NET 6 Android, Android.NET 6, or .NET 6 Android and .NET 6 iOS, something like that. But Maui, no, there are two different things. I don't see that will ever be using the same code base.
Okay, thank you.
I saw a question about MVVM. Can I still using design? Okay. Oh yeah, the MVVM pattern, and yeah, it's you can use the pattern in Uno application. It's the same. So actually, this is one of the pattern that they more promote, and Uno 4.0 brought many tools to make MVVM and to make easier for any user to use the pattern. Let me come back, and when talking let me come back here. So yeah, part of the Uno Platform extensions brought an MVVM framework that you can use. It's called reactive, that you can use as part of your Uno application. So you don't need anymore to use a third-party MVVM framework if you don't want. You can use the one provided by Uno Platform extensions. Uno Platform extensions is a whole bootstrap, so give the logins, serialization, like a binding, navigation, all that result is part of the extension. It's just another Nuga package.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you remember, Andres, when we went to UnoConf, and we in that time there was a preview support. It was not ready yet for SQLite in the browser. Where are we at right now with that one?
It's still SQLite was supported back in yeah, see here. I actually made a presentation in UnoConf
Right there.
2 years ago. SQLite, yeah, was supported with Uno 3.0. You can use SQLite in WebAssembly because this SQLite was for WebAssembly support, because SQLite you can use it in a Windows app and an iOS and Android app without any problem. But for WebAssembly, the support came in this version. This was Frank, SQLite is a library created by Frank Kruger, and so he made this possible. And once he made possible that SQLite could be used in WebAssembly, Uno make the changes in the framework to make that possible as well. So if you have an application that uses a database, and that application is targeting iOS and Android and desktop, you can use the same application and target it to the WebAssembly, and using the same SQLite, and Uno will make possible that your queries and your stuff work okay on the browser. There's a presentation. If you search online SQLite Uno Platform, I made a presentation of showing this.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Well, Pineda, when I use Prince, I can use a container from the template, for example. Oh, I don't remember those name, but well, we have a container in the template. In Uno Platform, when I create an app from that template, it has a container, or I have to implement the container on my own?
If you use the template, it would not have the container. But if you use the extension that came out of .NET, out of Uno Platform 4.0, it will have there will be a container for you to use. And when you talk about container, I'm thinking about a container for dependency injection.
Yes, yes.
And yeah.
There's, which one? You know?
Underneath? No, I don't know which one they use underneath. But we could easily find it. If you go to, that's the beauty of open source. You just go to the Uno Platform extensions repository, and we just find what the container they use. What are the things that they have is as a reference.
Okay.
The repository. But I can find, if we don't find it in the repository, I can find that information for you tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Jose, did you have a question?
Yes, basically it's like I know that you can use some MVVM frameworks in Uno, but when we're using Xamarin Forms or preferred choice basically is Prism. So I wonder the state of that framework in Uno.
So Prism is one of the most supported framework right now in Uno platform. Brian Lagunas and Dan Siegel.
Dan Siegel.
Yeah, the two maintainer for Prism, they have collaborated with Uno platform to make Prism to support Prism from the ground for Uno applications, to the point that if you install because there's a template that you install on the command line. If you install that template, you are able to install a Prism application. You are able to create a .NET New Prism application from the command line. Are you still seeing my computer?
Yeah.
Okay, so .NET New. Oh, I don't have it because I reinstall. If you install, let's do it. I mean, why not? Let's.
Hey, Andres, at some point, I'm going to have you back to teach us how to customize our command prompt. I have seen Jansenman done that, and it's a beauty.
Yeah, actually, I follow the one for Hasema, but we can do a presentation here, and we can do other things that I did to make it look like that. The new Uno platform. Something very important about Uno platform is that the documentation is great. I'm just Googling. I don't remember how to install that new, because there's a NuGet package that you install, and I never remember the NuGet package. And you just search for things on Google, and you will get the results. There's also, you can go directly to NuGet, the NuGets, and find the NuGet package from there. Give me a sec, and I will get a XPages .NET New on the platform install. Yep, I got it. So yeah, so this is the project template that you will install from the command line. And right now the current version is for 4.30. Let me come back. Well, what happened? Okay, my computer is acting up. It's already installed. But I don't see it. Supposedly it is already installed. We'll replace with this version. Let me install the latest version, see and install. This is the same template that you use for .NET Core. I mean, command line, .NET New, a new application. So right now we install the template. And we can see that we can create a Uno application with Prism out of the box. So you do .NET. I don't know where I am. Let me say CD develop. CD. .NET New Uno app dash Prism -O Prism app Uno. This will create an Uno application with Prism already installed, and many of the Prism configuration already done for us.
Nice.
Oh. Oops.
That command prompt, I can't stop looking at it. It's a beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, exactly the same. It's like
Thanks to Handsome Man. Handsome Man, there is a blog that you follow and you can get that the same.
Yeah, he even has his insulin level there.
Yeah, he also put make available that you can see he can see the level of the insulin of the glucose on the command line. So yeah, there you have Prism application, Uno application using using the Prism MVVM framework out of the box, already everything configured.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, we definitely need to give that a try.
Yeah, give it a try. And as I say, any question that you have, feel free to join the Discord for Uno Platform or open an issue if there are problems. So you see, Steve, there's a container here that is already part of this application. And Prism, you have Prism IOC also here with this template.
That is the one that we actually use in some forms. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, Prism is great. I do prefer that combination because I like reactive programming. So reactive UI for at least for the view models, and all the reactive things plus Prism for the rest. Prism for the IOC, Prism for the navigation, Prism for the pages. And
all right, guys. Any other questions before we let Andres go? Okay, Andres, thank you for the presentation. It has been awesome. And again, Andres, thank you for all the work that you do in the community, because as we were saying at the beginning of the talk, I met you like, I don't know, 3 years ago on the Xamarin Summit. And from there on, we have seen each other in almost all conferences in person that we could go until the COVID happened. But I'm just looking forward for those conferences to come back and all the community to get together again and just see everything that is going on. There is a lot of new stuff now with Maui. There is a lot of new stuff with Next 6. Next 7 is already on the way. And this presentation has been awesome. Thank you everyone for joining in. And next month, we're going to be talking with Randy and Charlene about Maui. So hope to see you guys here. We're going to be talking in DevOps in May with Jeffrey Palermo. Hopefully, I'm able to convince Lester to talk about testing Uno apps. And hopefully, I can get Andres again here later on to show us how to configure our common prompt that way. And see you until the next time. Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Hey, thank you, Andres.
Yeah, no worries. It's a pleasure.